money, baby.
Okay, we're live. Welcome, everybody. This is
Welcome.
LinkedIn strategies for salespeople and business owners. And this is actually part of my social selling TV channel, which you will be able to go to socialsellingtelevision.com, and that'll take you to the Apple link. It's for iOS devices. It's on Apple TV, and it's on any iOS device. It's not available on Android yet, but it will be soon.
That would
want to welcome Bob Woods. And
thank you very much.
You have your old Twitter handle up there.
You know, it's funny. This is a Blab thing, I think, because I've heard other people bring it up too. So I don't think that the Blab database really hits Twitter for your information after you sign up, because and in fact, when you click on my name, you'll see that I've got my new Twitter handle reference there. So so just kind of FYI to everybody, if you've joined up in the past but have had a different Twitter handle and you now have a different or updated one, you may want to go into the profile here in Blab and just mention your new Twitter handle in that. So you know, it's probably a Blab thing. It may be API related.
Who knows?
Exactly. Who knows?
We don't want to go there.
The point here. Yeah. God no.
So
God no.
Yeah. Go ahead if you have questions. /Q in the chat, and I'll just ask you a few questions, Bob.
Sure. Let's do it.
Well, the big topic in my community these days is the LinkedIn stock price dropping 50% in one day.
Yes.
And everybody is like, what's going on with LinkedIn? LinkedIn is saying we need to step back and figure out what direction to go.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on this?
Yes, they do. They definitely, they definitely need to take a step back. I am definitely not a finance guru. I'm not a guru of anything. I'm just a student of everything, but I'm definitely not a finance guru. So I don't know if their stock related situation is in any way related to all of the changes that they've been making on their platform. But as even the most casual LinkedIn user knows, they have been making a lot of changes. And in my opinion, and in the opinion of at least quite a few people in the social selling world, the changes have not been good ones. What's your take on it, Ted?
Oh, every Monday morning, it seems like I log in and something's missing or something's moved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I know we have our laundry list of frustrations.
Yes, exactly. And in fact, myself and my I call her my LinkedIn partner in crime, and she's actually on the call here too. Bren Tillman, we're having a call with LinkedIn a little later today to discuss some things. We've been in kind of long-term conversations with them about several things that we've discovered and that other people that we know have discovered about the LinkedIn platform, including yourself, Ted. So we are continuing those conversations. It's actually good that they are listening to us. And, you know, it's one of those situations when we're on the phone with them where we mention a whole bunch of things and they take notes and they have questions about certain aspects that we bring up that they don't necessarily know that's going on. I don't know if that's good or bad, but you know, the platform is so huge, and I think that people are discovering many ways to use it that they don't necessarily know about, that is probably good for them to hear from us about all of this. At the same time, we don't really get any commitments about, oh, we'll change this, we'll change that, which obviously I don't think is going to happen during a phone call anyhow, because they probably got like 85 layers of administration to take changes through before they even do, you know, before they even think about truly changing something. Right. But I guess the main takeaway that I always get from those calls is that they are interested. They are listening at least, and they really do appreciate the perspective that we bring to them. Whether that translates into actual better changes as opposed to just these changes that they're making that people aren't really sure why they're making, that's right. Another question entirely. But at least they're listening, which is better than what things used to be prior to the probably about the just before the first of the year, I'd say.
I think a lot of the changes they're doing are to combat these aggressive users who they were sending thousands of messages to people in groups. So they eliminated that. They changed the whole messaging platform, so it's like, wow, what happened?
Right. Right. Yeah. And when it comes to the aggressive users, I definitely get that. I understand that. I also understand that LinkedIn needs to make money. They are publicly traded. They need to bring in revenue. So, if they're making changes to try to bring some things over to the paid side, I'll kind of cringe about it a little bit. But at the same time, I do realize that this is a company that is profit driven, and if they're going to be in trouble, as we've seen in their stock lately, they are definitely going to take a hit because of it. So, are they making a push to potentially have more people sign up to their premium products? Probably. Some of these features that have been abused in the past, they may be converting, some subset of that or whatever into paid features, which hopefully will mean that only the truly serious people who are respectable and commendable and whatever you want to say will use these, for the good, common good or whatever you want to say. Right. And to really cut out a lot of this spamming and just some of this overall abuse that's been happening, because I'm the first person to admit I've seen it too, and it's not good. I've
had a business account, the lowest level for years. I'm grandfathered in at a rate. They even tell me this doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks
ago, I had one of those too.
In my inbox, it says I have recruiter functions now. Like, what's this thing? So I have a partial recruiter paid account lumped in with my old grandfathered business account. I was like, gosh, I'm trying to figure out where this came from.
Right. Yeah. And actually in the chat room, Bren just said she doesn't have any problem with them moving features to premium, but just seriously, a lot of the stuff don't take them away. And I think that's a point that Bren and I are going to be making today, especially with their most recent change, which is taking away the saved connections, or what's that called exactly? I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking on it right now.
Oh yeah, where you could do the save searches or tagging.
Right? Yeah, save connections basically. Yeah. So that's actually a pretty big strategy that Bren and I taught, and with them taking that away, obviously we will figure out a way to work around it, because we firmly believe in making lemonade out of lemons. But at the same time, it makes things tough. But that's why we get paid, and that's why we dive into the platform to figure these things out.
Right. Hey, it makes our job. We'll be around forever trying to figure this stuff out.
Well, that's a conversation for after hours at a bar after many drinks, but that's a different story.
They used to tell us about changes in their blog, and they'd say, here's some things we did and why we did it, and they don't really announce them anymore. They just kind of throw them out there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and actually, Bren just tweeted she just listed a hashtag save the save that a couple of us have been using on LinkedIn, which actually LinkedIn Help has been noticing that. And to LinkedIn's credit, they responded to my tweet with a link to a form within the LinkedIn site that asked for comments in regards to that function. So maybe they will listen and either not take it away, or maybe move it to a more to a more premium level.
A lot of people are talking about last year Facebook announced they're going to go aggressively for Facebook for Business, a new product.
Right.
And they're like the big Google now. They come and just swallow people up.
Yes.
So I think LinkedIn's got to be worried about that.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't been keeping up with this Facebook at Work or Facebook at Business or whatever they're calling it. But I looked at the Facebook at Work, at least their public facing stuff yesterday, and as of now, it just appears to be more of an employee collaboration tool within companies. Now the thing about that is, if they let companies start to intermingle more like a LinkedIn is definitely going to have problems, I think, at that point. But as of right now, at least this Facebook at Work platform isn't isn't as much of a threat to LinkedIn as I think it could be, and it may be in the future.
Well, they're going to launch a big product this year sometime. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and that will be it's all about the stay tuned in this business. And unfortunately, people like Ted Bren and I are in reaction mode instead of proaction mode quite a bit. But we do figure it out, and we craft strategies to help people do this stuff and do it well, and we will continue to do that.
So let's go to the positive side of LinkedIn. We've been bitching.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hate complaining. I really hate complaining. I want to talk about how to use this stuff effectively, and we could, and we can chat more about that to help people get more out of it. So let's talk more about that. Probably the first thing that Ted and I wanted to talk about is profiles, and this is kind of basics. We're kind of structuring this blab to start off with like a basic thing and then get a little bit more advanced and then a little bit more advanced. So if you know everything in this one already, just stick with us. We promise we'll be bringing more advanced stuff in. So right now, we want to talk about probably the three most basic elements of the profile, which are which is what I call the above the fold strategy, borrowing from web pages and newspapers and things like that. So you really need to attract people to want to reach out and contact you more through your profile. You do that in three ways: your banner or background, your profile photograph, and your headline. So the first thing is the banner or the background. Now, LinkedIn gives you all these generic pictures that you can put in that very top area. As someone who used to be involved in real estate and commercial real estate, I view that as very valuable real estate. So that should be used for branding in my ABB, always be branding mode that I'm always in, basically. So you should create or have created for you, and you could do this. If your company doesn't have a graphic artist, you can always go out to Fiverr. There's all kinds of people advertising this service, so it's not really expensive to get done. So just brand that real estate with images, with your branding. If you're just doing your own thing personally, with your own personal branding, products, services, whatever you have. And I don't know how you feel about this, Ted, but I always like to put contact information at the very top, whether that's just an email address or email and phone number or website. In that ABB strategy, you always want to have people. You always want to give people rather the easiest and fastest way to connect with you.
Oh God, I stress that. Make it easy for people to email you, call you, reach out to you. Put it everywhere you can in the profile. It's like that real estate, put it in your summary. Don't put it in your professional headline because that's against the terms of service.
Right.
We see that a lot. Or in their name field, their 800 number.
You see that all the time. And plus, and this is something that I didn't realize, that when you do that, someone had said, and maybe you can confirm this for me, Ted, that actually messes up search results when people go to search for you. And maybe you can expand on that a little bit, because I caught a little bit about that, and I just kind of went like that, and I wasn't sure exactly how that wored.
No, I've had people, they give them, they say, let's connect on LinkedIn. I search for their name, and you can't find them because their last name field is all this extra, like a tagline or a phone number or a website. And the LinkedIn, I've been doing SEO for over 12 years.
Right.
So LinkedIn search engines, probably where Google was about 8 to 10 years ago. It's still pretty dumb, and you can fool it.
Right.
On the reverse side of that, people can't find you sometimes. Like I'll put a person's name and the city they're in, maybe, or their company name. You have to dig pretty deep if they have a common name. Right. Yeah. Just make it easy for people to find you.
And then when they get to your profile, make it easy for them to contact you.
Yes.
And it's actually it's funny, for most of you don't know, but my kind of deep background is in broadcast journalism. I was a photographer and newscast producer, field producer, reporter. I did all that type of stuff. And one of the lessons that I use to this day that I learned way back in the late 80s and early 90s is from an old producer there who always taught me, basically, it's not about why should I care when it comes to a newscast or a story or whatever. It's make me care. So you need to have that make me care elements throughout your profile, so that people will care and they'll want to call you because you are, through what you list in your profile, that go-to guy or gal, as I put it, in whatever profession that you're in.
I teach the AIDA approach, the old school marketing. Mm-hmm. Get their attention, get them interested, increase desire, get them to take action.
Exactly.
And you got to get their attention, and that's in the profile, the headline and your picture mm-hmm. and your background.
Different words, same results. So I'm definitely we're on that we're on that proverbial same page. The second thing is the photo, which I forget what the statistic is. Maybe Ted knows, or maybe Bren can bring that in a little bit more. But what is there was like a percentage or something like that out there that people will click into your profile or read your profile like 5 or 10 times more or something like that if you have that professional photo up there. I forget what that number is.
It was staggering.
Yes. Staggering is definitely a way. Thank you, Bren. She's going to look that up. But staggering is a very, very good description for it. So it's very, very important to have a professional photo up there, and I'm not talking about the one where you crop out your ex or you have your yeah, exactly, or have your dog in it, or yeah, exactly. So ideally, it will be a professional photo done in a studio. Now, sometimes I see people who are field-based, or they're known for like really being in a profession and being in the middle of what they do, and they'll have a professional looking photo taken in their element. I don't think that there's a problem there. The only thing you have to worry about a little bit is you still need to see your face there, and that LinkedIn square is not that big in terms of being able to show everything you do. So I mean, I definitely think that for certain people that can be done. You just have to be concerned about that a little bit. Do you have anything else along those lines, Ted?
Well, yeah, last year I spoke in front of 500 home inspectors in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they go to work in shirts with their logo on it.
Sure.
So a picture of them in their uniform is perfectly appropriate. Putting them in a suit would be really weird.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. And that's a good point. So however you appear during the workday should ideally be how you appear on LinkedIn. So, I mean, if you're that guy and you appear in a suit on LinkedIn, but then, you make a connection on LinkedIn, you have a meeting or whatever, and you show up completely different, that could be jarring, and that may bring up a little bit of a distrust element there.
And be careful with the nature backgrounds, because sometimes they kind of blur you out. So you want to be
that's
a
a
nice
good point.
Clean background too.
That's a very good point. Bren just brought up something. Here's an old infographic that says 11 times more likely to click through if you have an image. Like I said, that's a staggering number.
Yeah.
So, so have that photo taken. And just one more tip, and I need to figure out which way. So,
your good side or your bad side?
Well, no. Well, there's no such thing with me, so that part doesn't matter. But if you're having that typical studio shot taken, just make sure that you're looking into the page. So it's kind of like this. So you're kind of looking at everything down there, and so that this is just screwy. So right. so people's eyes are drawn into, because if you're looking off like that. And this is like a television thing, but you almost look like that you're disavowing yourself, or worse comes to worse, it just looks weird that you're looking off. So make sure that you're looking into the page.
People are standing like this.
All they're missing is that mugshot number and everything that,
right.
that they have in front of them like that.
So
okay. Your size. Yeah, I am backwards, definitely. I'm always, well, my wife says that, but that's a different story. So with the headline, so let's move on to the third element, the headline. for me, it's pretty simple. It shouldn't really be your title and your company, because that tells nobody anything about what it is you actually do. And in fact, if you're a sales person and your title is account executive, nothing makes somebody flee from a profile more quicker than discovering that someone is a salesperson, just because of the salesperson stigma that unfortunately still exists. And none of us are true, true salespeople anymore like that. But the stigma is still out there. So instead, what I teach is that WIFM strategy. What's in it for me, meaning the person reading your profile. So that headline should really be about the value that you bring to any customer or client that is looking at your profile. If you want to take it from there, Ted.
No, it's all about them. I could be the greatest guy in the world. I could win awards. I could be the best person in the world for whatever I do, but you don't care about that. They have a problem. They want a solution. They want you to talk to them, resonate with them.
Right. Exactly. So, and of course that could, I'm not going to cite any examples because we all sell in so many different areas. It's just impossible to drill down to like just one or two things, but just make sure that when you have your profile out there, your headline speaks to what value you bring to your clients. And Ted has a good headline for that. I have a good headline for that. Quite a few people who I'm connected to are social sellers as well. They have good headlines for that type of thing. So, just look through, give yourself some ideas and craft a good headline from there.
Did you see Andy Foote's new one he put up yesterday?
No, I didn't. What does it say?
It says, the LinkedIn coach, ... you should have hired. That got attention.
That's yes. Yeah, it's probably a little unconventional, but coaches and trainers like us can probably get away with that a little bit more than your typical salesperson, especially because he's a company of one, so he could definitely get away with that type of thing. Yeah. So and Bren in the comments areas has just posted Ted's and my headlines so that you have those there immediately. And thank you, Bren. And why don't you post yours up there too, Bren? Give yourself, obviously, she's probably.
So the point is to stand out from the crowd. If you search for a financial advisor, there's hundreds of thousands of financial advisors on LinkedIn. So how do you stand out from them?
Right.
But they're kind of tough because they have a lot of compliance issues, so they have to be careful with that.
Right, but they can still talk about, they can bend their marketing message to their own personal situations, and hopefully their marketing messages have already been checked through compliance, and it's not a problem to do that. Yeah, and by the way, kind of a blanket statement: if you are in an industry that deals with compliance, go whatever we suggest, take it through your compliance people, make sure it's cool with them before you do anything, because you can cause yourself potentially all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
Now that disclaimer's over,
right. Back to the good news.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into a little bit more advanced strategy. I want to talk a little bit about sharing and publishing on LinkedIn. I did an article, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, where I kind of coined a new strategy, which is basically I'm a marketer at heart, so I'm all about marketing and putting all kinds of tags and kind of unique things on it. I call it the unpublisher strategy. I'm sure that other people have similar strategies, but basically what it comes down to is this: if you are the type of person who just doesn't have time to write blog posts or to use Publisher or whatever, you can still actually publish, quote unquote, on LinkedIn. It's going to look a little different, but you can achieve a decent amount of the same effect you would with a published post, which is what Ted and I do and a bunch of people do to show our expertise, basically. But you could do that in just the shares that you have of other people's content. So as I go through my cheat sheet here, so in my mind at least, an unpublisher post, which is what I call it, has 3 requirements. So one, the article or content in the post itself must be highly relevant to your connections, audience, followers. If you've done work on your buyer persona, that post has to have relevance to that audience. Number two, as the unpublisher, you have to contribute additional content that enhances or expands the original article. And there's several ways to do that, including calling out or highlighting an important point in the article. You can summarize the main takeaway of the piece and ask what people think about it. Or you can challenge a point, the overall conclusion. You could just say, hey, I think this is BS. What do you think? The main part is that you need to add content in a way that people will actually engage with you and engage with one another. I think nothing is more hot than publishing just a share and have people talking about it in the share without the original person actually commenting on it. Nothing builds brand faster than that type of thing, especially because as people comment more and more, they'll get notices about it. They'll come back. They will look at who originally posted it. They'll see your professional shiny face there. Well, not shiny, hopefully, but your professional face and your headline and everything is like, oh yeah, this is the guy who originally posted it. And then, it's all about ABB, always be branding, always about building the brand. And this kind of goes into the third point of an unpublisher post, which is always be sure to engage if anyone engages with the post.
Yes.
So you're still doing some work, but you're not going through and writing the whole blog post and everything else. But everything else about it is essentially the same as publishing, except you're just using other people's content to do it. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Ted, but
yeah, one thing I started doing recently, there's a program called Click to Tweet. So you can put within your articles.
Oh, I've seen that.
So you can a certain excerpt, you say click to tweet, and it'll tweet it right from your LinkedIn article. So I usually add 2 or 3 of those in there.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know something? Writing it down.
There you go.
You see? We learn stuff from each other. I mean, seriously, that's how dynamic social selling is, and that's how how dynamic LinkedIn and social media is in general. There's new stuff happening all the time, and in the space, it's so big.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says. There's no one person who knows everything.
And if you tweet other people's excerpts, they're going to like you.
Yep.
You put it into your curated content.
Yep.
The other thing I add, make sure at the end of every article have a little paragraph about you and how to get a hold of you, even if you're curating content, because you're the author of this.
Right. Exactly. Yep. I would definitely agree with that as well. So that is kind of the I'm so gonna add that to my blog post next week. Yep. Oh yeah, because Bren has if you are following her or are connected to Bren Tillman on LinkedIn next week, she is curating a bunch of quotes and tips from other social selling coaches and trainers about a particular topic, which I will not reveal. You will have to look for that yourself. But that's a fantastic idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So the third thing,
the advanced strategies, right?
Yeah, a bit more advanced. LinkedIn groups. LinkedIn groups used to be good. They got not so good when people started spamming the you know what out of them. Their importance decreased a lot. LinkedIn made quite a few changes to groups. They're now tighter. The people who run them have more control over them. Quite frankly, I don't think any of that is a bad thing. What do you think, Ted?
Oh, I think it's great. They're making the moderators moderate their groups.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
And you mentioned earlier, what's in it for me? When you went to a group, it was all about people just blasting content to it. They weren't trying to help anyone in the group.
Right.
So if you go in there with the attitude, I'm going to help someone today in this group, you get a response. You stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, precisely. And that's what my third point is actually all about. from now on, LinkedIn group strategies need to be different, and it needs to be about the with them for the people in the group. So my little strategy is all about what I call active listening, which is different than the phrase active listening is in psychology and things like that. My definition, just when it comes to LinkedIn groups, is the process by which you actively participate in the group while at the same time contributing your own content to help the group. But as I'll explain here pretty quick, the at the same time part really shouldn't happen immediately. So the first thing that I teach is before you contribute a stitch to any group that you're in, you need to contribute and add to existing conversations, just so that you start getting known a little bit within the group, so that you're not seen as that person who is there just to spam. You are seen as a contributor, as someone who is active in the group, essentially.
Contributing isn't just saying great article.
Good article. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you kind of need to do what I talked about in the unpublisher strategy, and everything kind of goes back to contributing and making sure that what you do is good for the person who is reading it. It's that simple, basically. Yeah. So I say give it, if you're new in a group, or if you're kind of revisiting a group that you haven't been in a while, give it a couple of weeks of just building your brand and just building your name recognition before you start posting. That's just pretty cut and dried. I'm not going to go into that more. Third, after that time, you can start posting, but be careful about it. You know, I would say don't contribute just your own things if you're publishing, if you're a LinkedIn publisher, or if you do blogging outside of the platform or whatever. It's kind of an publisher strategy there. Post content that is interesting, that you find relevant, and that can help other people. So it's really about becoming a true member of a group. So this one and done, post an article and get the heck out thing just doesn't work anymore, especially because as Ted said, group moderators are becoming moderators now, and they'll kick your butt out if they don't think you're contributing. And because all groups are now request only, once you're out, chances of you getting back in are slim none. And as they say, slim just left town. So
do they still have the rule where if you get flagged by one moderator, you can't post in any other groups?
I don't know about that. I was going to try to start a group on my own to just kind of test out the new features and everything. I just haven't gotten around to it, so I don't know how that works. Does anyone out there in Blabland know if that's actually the case or not? If so, please. I have a group you can go manage. Yeah, sign me up. Definitely.
When they enforced that, my phone was ringing off the hook. People are calling me like, I got banned from all groups. How do I get back in?
In fact, it's funny. I got flagged once because I did kind of a cute headline for one of my posts that I thought was cute, and I thought that people would get it. And unfortunately, a lot of people did not get it. It was I kind of took a twist on that one weird trick advertisement you see like everywhere you go on the internet about all different types of things. And I spelled it out at the top of the article just to make sure that people knew that this actually wasn't a one weird trick thing. But yet a lot of people just read the headline and thought it was, just like one of those ads, and boom, I was out of groups for a couple of weeks. So, I mean, just be careful about all that type of stuff, especially now because of what LinkedIn has done with the groups now.
So you just went to that one group because you knew you didn't blast it to 20 groups or something.
No, I blasted it to 20.
Because I had people that were blasting the same content to groups through the tools, the automated tools out there.
Yeah.
And they had no idea which moderator flagged them.
Right, yeah. And that is part of the problem, which actually can still happen. But So I guess one of the things to take away from this kind of active listening strategy is that you will need to contribute more time to groups, which means that you'll probably really need to choose which groups you participate in and devote more time to fewer groups. But I think that that's a good thing in the end, because hopefully you're developing good relationships and even, customers and clients out of those groups, and you'll end up doing better in the first place, basically.
My rule for groups is treat people in a group like you're sitting across from them at Starbucks having a cup of coffee. Treat them the same way you would.
That's a fantastic. People should be taking notes. You should make an infographic, a little image out of that and everything. Seriously, that's a great way to put it. That's a great way.
It's just like you're in a networking meeting, essentially. It's virtual, but.
Well, I'm not so sure I'd say networking meeting, because I've been to plenty of meetings where there's people out just, just trying to sell and everything else, and they don't have a clue. And, anyhow.
Nobody ever goes to a network meeting to buy. They're always going to sell.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So.
And no one sells.
Yeah. No one sells. No one should be selling. Don't sell at a network.
Because they're not building a relationship.
Exactly. It's all about building relationships.
So.
That's
great stuff.
Thank you very much. I mean that Starbucks analogy alone made this entire session worth it for me. So I definitely appreciate that. And as always, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to pop them in the in the chat area. Why couldn't I think of that?
Or if anyone wants to jump in on an open seat and ask us questions.
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah, please. Bren, if you want to jump in, let's see. How long to read? So I'll bring Bren in.
Okay.
How long to read? How are you? First of all,
I'm doing very well.
Good. First of all, that is, I'm assuming. Whoops.
Whoa.
Oh, I don't know what happened there. Bren, how you doing? Hey, Bren.
Got the green screen going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, it's to hide the lack of artwork on my wall.
Look at this.
So, yeah, this was fun. You guys are awesome. I am so blessed to be partnered with you guys. It's awesome. You're so smart.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
We are going to have a ton of fun.
And it's going to take 9 of us to keep up with all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Well, I have to say, so I have used Click to Tweet, but I really have not done a very good job of using it in my blog. So I am so excited about that. I can't even tell you. I'm going to give you a little thing of how I've used Click to Tweet. You might like this, Ted. If you Google, now if you go in a URL, if you type in tweetssl.info, it redirects to a Click to Tweet URL. And it will automatically, so when I'm teaching a class, I will tell everybody go to your phone, if you have Twitter, go into Safari and type tweetssl.info. And it will say, I'm having a great time at SSL's workshop. Here are some videos that will help you learn what I'm learning right now.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
So I never, I wasn't thinking, put it inside the blog, but I think now I'm so excited because you've got my wheels turning, Ted. For each one of the quotes from each of the social selling trainers, I'm going to have their own Click to Tweet. So when you tweet theirs out, it'll have their Twitter handle and come read theirs and their peers. Right. So it'll be custom. So it's a lot of work. But I'm going to go to it.
Yeah.
But I think that's such a great idea. I'm so excited now.
That's what assistants are for.
Yeah, I know, but mine's on maternity leave.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So I have other people that are alternatives, but by the time I teach it to them, she's back in 6 weeks.
That's good.
I'm starting to do videos for my assistant in case she's on vacation and someone else has to do it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. But that takes time too. But
in the
long run, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it helps you avoid the maternity leave thing.
So what's your take on all these changes at LinkedIn, Bren?
Mike's online. So I am going to come from a very positive place, and I'm positive that they're the wrong changes. Okay.
Excellent.
So obviously, Bob mentioned we're on the phone today with some of the user experience product people today. I sent an email with, like, you know what, in the olden days when you'd write a letter and you were crying and the paper would get wet, my email was wet. Like, I was just like tears on my email.
Yeah.
And I literally, and so these are some folks, actually, Ted, you were part of, just for everybody, we sent an open letter to Jeff Weiner, which really helped us get this direct umbilical cord access into LinkedIn, which has been great. And they actually proactively, I actually started with, please don't take this away, but then they proactively asked to have a call with us. Yep. Here is the problem. They do not understand the amazing product that they have.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with that.
So the email that came through that announced they were taking this away is due to lack of usership.
Right.
So here, no one's using it. Well, no one. You have 414 million people on your platform. If you've got 10,000 people using it, in their eyes, that's no one.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's 10,000 people that are using this product in such an effective, efficient way that what I think they should do before they strip us from these amazing things is say, how are you using them? And are these things we should be teaching other people so that they start to use LinkedIn more, better, faster, stronger, all that stuff.
Right.
Because the save is by far one of my absolute favorite little hidden features.
Yeah.
And the way, everyone uses it different. I mean, Bob and I use it similarly because we have the same curriculum that we teach. But, the way that we use this, or one of the ways, is when you do an advanced search on the people that you want to reach out to, you can save those connections. You can reach out and try to connect with them or send an email or whatever you want to do. But then when they come up on another list, it shows us that we've already reached out to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you do an advanced search, you're constantly overlapping people that you've reached out to before.
Right.
And so I think it's really dangerous. And they're in danger of more spam by taking it away. Because this is an amazing tool to say, yep, we already reached out to them. So it may be a different reach out now.
Right.
The second piece I think they're taking away, although there's some debate on understanding their intent, is the ability to tag your seconds and third degree connections.
Right.
This is horrible. So in my tags, I have lead, prospect, first call, appointment, and I have, and they move through the pipeline inside of LinkedIn. And the reason is when they're in a certain spot, I'm going to go to all those folks and send them a particular piece of content that will help me move it through the sales funnel. Right. If I don't know where they are, and now maybe I'm going outside and using a separate CRM, it's not nearly as effective. And LinkedIn is causing us to leave the site. Their goal should be the longer you're on the site, the more likely you are to pay premium.
Right.
So their mindset is so off. They're making people figure out hacks outside of their platform.
Yep.
I'm surprised they haven't purchased a CRM company and integrated it.
I really thought at one time that Salesforce and LinkedIn were going to at least partner strongly.
Right.
Yeah.
To do that.
That would still make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing it's interesting, if Salesforce launched a product, and actually I'd love to see Nimble do it, but they took the API away from Nimble because Nimble by far is the best social CRM out there. But let's just use Salesforce as an example, even though, and with Bob and my new initiatives were going to be on Salesforce. So, right.
Can't wait.
So we'll
Can't
see
wait.
that for now. But I will say, in general, for the individual entrepreneurs, Nimble is amazing. But so one of the struggles that Salesforce has is, as an individual, you can't just sign up for Salesforce.
Yeah.
Right. But if they launched a product that was this combination of Salesforce for one and LinkedIn,
yeah,
they would open up a whole other market that they don't have to worry about customization. They don't have to worry about anything else. It's just like a plug and play premium that your Salesforce CRM is living inside of LinkedIn. And the fact that they haven't done that is crazy.
Right.
And then eventually they could connect it to TeamLink. That way, so if I have a note on a particular person and Bob is also in my company and connected to that person, I can choose a little check mark. Do I want my team to see these notes?
Right.
If I want to share those notes publicly, I can check it off. You can't do it across the board because it's still your personal, but you can offer that up to anyone on TeamLink. And I think there are so many ways that they could really grow, and with these horrible earnings that we just saw, they need to get smarter about this because they're messing up.
Yes.
Well, their earnings met expectations, but their projections.
Their projections is what did them in terms of the stock price.
Yeah,
I thought they didn't make earnings, so that's
they did make earnings, but their FY 2016, or at least, however, I don't know if they're on a calendar year or what, but what they said for the rest of the year was they were definitely taking their forecast down from what they used to be in terms of users, and I forget what other metrics they're offhand, but
we should focus on. It's not about acquiring new members. It's really about upselling existing members. What products and services can we offer that will be of benefit? And what they're doing by taking things away is it's angering people.
Yeah.
That are, instead of creating incredibly loyal folks. Like, I mean, I'm seeing all these things like Zing coming up, which I just joined. I don't know what to do with it yet. I feel really dumb when I get on, but
you speak German.
Yeah.
We'll speak into Deutsch. But I mean but there are competitors, and I actually years ago wrote a letter to Mark Zuckerberg when Branch Out was failing. And I said, one conversation with me and I can make this work, and he never called. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But they did try that Branch Out to compete with LinkedIn. I don't know what this new platform is going to look like from them. But at the end of the day, none of these executives understand how we're using it. And this is the biggest problem. They're launching based on this is a great idea, not around how are the users going to get the most out of this.
It's kind of like they monitor the help desk, and whoever's complaining, they remove that feature instead of trying to address it.
The help desk is a nightmare. So it's almost a joke, but I had 3 issues I brought to the help desk. And within 24 hours, I got the exact same email for all 3 issues. This is a known problem and we're working on it. So I sent an absolutely absurd help desk question. I have to find this. That had nothing to do with LinkedIn, that I was having a Twitter problem and I'm wondering if they can help me out. And I got a message back that said this is a known problem and we're working on it.
So they're saying that Twitter is a known problem and they're working on it.
And LinkedIn is working on helping.
All right, yeah.
I asked them, I think the question was something like, I'm having trouble managing my Twitter lists. Do you have any advice or something like that? I was just curious, like, are they even reading this? And they're not.
No, of course they're not. No,
we love LinkedIn. We really do. But we're so frustrated.
Yes.
There's so much we could be doing with this.
Well, they are talking to us now, but they have to act fast.
Yeah.
They have to act fast. and they are a huge corporation. And Bob, you mentioned earlier, there are probably 1 million steps and layers that they have to go through. But there has to be someone that says, put a halt on this and let's literally talk to the people. I used to be part of a board with Coca Sexton and Ralph years ago, probably 5 years ago, where every third Thursday at noon Eastern time, we would be on a call and they would ask us, as they were considering Sales Navigator. Vivica was on that, although we hadn't met, but she was one of the people on the call. And there was probably 40 or 50 of us that were part of this call. And I really think at that time they were listening. And it was when they were building out Sales Navigator, or conceptually anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And then
I've been saying for years they should steal somebody from the ad department in Google or Facebook, because I do a lot of ads for clients. And we want to spend $2,500 a day on ads, and it took 4 days to get the ads approved. Like, I kept emailing them saying, "Hey, we want to spend money. Please approve these ads."
Yeah,
wow.
They're leaving billions of dollars on the table for advertising.
Actually, if I can interrupt, we have a question from Mr. Wonderful. I love that name, and actually, this is something that has been generating a lot of comments within the community. How effective is Pulse? And I think the easiest way to put that is used to be good, not quite so much now. Because what has happened is that LinkedIn now has some kind of mystery algorithm or whatever going in the background, probably from, Harry Potter or something like that, that limits the number, that effectively limits the number of people who are notified when you publish a new post on LinkedIn. And
my husband does not get notified when I publish.
And also, I have not had a chance to test this yet, but Bren has said that she has contacted several of people who are not connected to her, but are following her. So in other words, these are people who have opted into her content, want to know that when she publishes her content, they will see it. And Bren says
they are not getting not one that I've contacted. And now they're my contacts because I'm reaching out, asking the question, and we're having a conversation.
Sure. Right.
But I have 3,000 people following me, not connections, followers, because they like my content, but they are not being notified. Isn't the point of following that they'll be notified when I post something? And they're not. And
you would think.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, why are they following? What's the whole purpose of having the follow button?
That's where people were complaining they were getting too many notifications if they had a big network. But like you said, they want to be notified.
Yeah.
Well, so just, this is my solution. In the inbox, not in the inbox, in the invitations, you can X or accept, right from the deck. I think the notifications, you should be, I want more from this person, or I want to opt out of them. So everyone you're connected to and everyone that is following you will get the notifications until they X you out.
You used to be able to do that. Last year, you could select, I don't want notifications from this person.
Well, it's insane. You should get notifications from everyone until you opt out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That's the way it worked last year. I'll have to check that and see if it's still there.
I don't believe
it's kind of hidden a little bit. You have to click on something to get to that, but I forget what it is.
It's in your notifications, and then the person that's in the notification, you could click somewhere in there, and it would say, "I don't want any more of these notifications."
Oh yeah. So if
So I think that what you're saying, Ted, is that it should be more right. So I
turn everybody on until I opt out.
Right, yeah, and make it easier to find too, and make people aware that it's there.
That.
Right,
so
yeah, exactly.
There are a lot of people I still want to be connected to, but may not want their content.
Yeah, right. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to actually go to one of their posts and click it's automatically following if you're a connection, and then hit unfollow.
Yeah.
Then but nobody would know that.
Right. Yep.
No,
that's why we have jobs.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we're on the platform every single day, banging the heck out of it, trying to figure this stuff out and trying to help people with it, because
we do love this stuff.
Yeah, I know. People who pop in and out are probably thinking, oh God, this is just another LinkedIn business. And it's like, no, it's not. We really love it. We want to help. We just, it's frustrating, but we still love the platform. We want it to continue. We want nothing but the best for them. We want them to make just a ton of money so that they will continue to stay around. And, we just want to help. That's all.
Exactly. So I think we have time for one more question if anybody has a question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, please. Yeah. Just
want me to pop out? Let somebody else come in?
Well, we still have one Brady Bunch-like window left. So if someone wants to, wants to click it.
Oh, go ahead.
Please.
Go ahead. Really quick, E-Boy, who I adore, I don't even know him, but I see him all the time in all the blabs, and he's awesome. But to his bummer, all that we just said about Pulse, it's still incredibly effective.
Yes.
Right? So at the end of the day, there is no way. When I published on my blog post, I never got 100, 150 views.
Yeah.
Maybe I got 30. Maybe I got 2 comments. Maybe I got 4 shares. Maybe.
Right.
And Pulse has absolutely changed that significantly. Like I'm getting between 750 and 2,500 views every single time that I post. And I'm getting many more comments than ever before. And I'm definitely getting significantly more likes where I didn't even have a like on my regular blog.
Right. Yeah.
So people are getting notified somehow that you posted.
Well, I have a whole system. So I will actually, I will share that system I blogged about it. I'll share that system in comments. But awesome. I definitely have a whole system, because that was I call it the LinkedIn myth. Just because you build it doesn't mean they're going to come,
Right. Yeah, exactly. And actually, just real quick, the other way that Pulse is good is that within your profile, it will show your last 3 Pulse articles that are published. So if you arrange the sections within your profile, like I do, the very first section that people see underneath that top of the fold area that I addressed earlier is my published articles, and that just builds brand, that builds expertise if you're publishing the right kind of content, obviously. So one of the things that I suggest to people is to at least have 3 published articles out there that speak to your expertise so that they show up, because that's a great way to show expertise. I mean, even if a lot of people, aren't reading because everything we just suggested, it still serves a very good purpose. But as like me, someone who was in television once upon a time and just poured over ratings and, all that stuff. I like numbers. I like big numbers. I'm not getting as big numbers anymore. That's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, Pulse is very effective in so many other situations.
I had a blog that had 120,000 views in the beginning. When we were early publishers. Now an enormous amount of people are publishing. But again, I think it's insane that people follow you and they don't have, they're following you with the idea that they will get notified. They have said, we want to see content from this person. Otherwise, they might have connected with me, but they chose, I'm not necessarily want to connect with Bren, but I like her stuff. I want to read it. They may not like me, but they want to know. I don't know.
Right.
But I have 3,000 people, and they're not getting notified.
Right.
A lot of people that have chosen to follow my content not read it. So that being said, the 750 or so that are looking are not even my followers.
Right.
Necessarily.
So I post in status updates too. You got to just keep pumping it out there, but still.
I have a 7x7 share, which I don't think is in this post. But through Hootsuite, I recycle all my blogs. So I might have a blog that has 500 views, but in 2 months it'll be at 1,000 because I'm reselling.
Right. Yeah.
You gotta do. Just keep putting it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. As do I. Yeah.
I got really yellow. I'm not sure what happened. Or orange.
It's that beautiful green
little
orange. There we go.
Little John just okay. We're back to normal.
We're back to the top of the hour here.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Right,
so I tell you what. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Thank you for letting me crash your party.
Oh, please. Oh,
thanks for helping.
Thanks for helping out. We really appreciate it. I think we'll stop recording now, at least. But if